Hi there, in this video I'm going to show you exactly how I created that fantasy jungle ambience sound effect. I'm going to show you all the layers I use, what I recorded, what I designed, how I designed it, and all that fun stuff. So with that said, let's get right into our project. All right, so here we are inside of Reaper, and as you'll notice, the way I have my project set up is I have it broken down into two sections. Up here I have my kind of sound beds, and then at the bottom down here I have my creature sounds, bird sounds, and things like that. So why don't we go through some of the ambience sound beds here that I have, and then we'll go into the creature sounds, and then I'll also show you some of the processing I made, including some of the reverb I use and things like that. All right, so I found that one of the keys to creating this jungle ambient sound successfully is to have a combination of both like real sound elements. You will need like some real ambient sounds, and as well as some other design creature sounds and design creature elements, and combining those two together really helped. And the way that I did that is I used some recordings that I had, and this one was from a forest that I had recorded, and it sounds like this, and it had already like burn sounds and everything kind of baked in. So let's have a listen to this here. All right, so that is the raw recording right there. And what you'll notice, it sounds very, like it sounds fine. It sounds good. You have all the bird sounds that you kind of want. You have some distant sounds, some close sounds, but it doesn't have that kind of same reverb sound that you would want inside of a jungle sound effect. Like it doesn't feel like everything would blend together. And also the other issue is that because I'm going to be mixing different sounds together from different recordings that were taken at different places, they're not all going to sit in the same place in the same ambience together. So one of the ways that you can get around that is by placing them in the same kind of ambience. And that's what I did here. So here I used a reverb, and this was just the Valhalla room reverb. I think this might have actually been the default setting, and I think I maybe brought up the decay a little bit, but I think I didn't change too much on there. And then after that, I just added a bit of EQ here to cut out some of the dips that I found after I had layered a whole bunch of stuff together, and I found there's some things that needed to be cut. But yeah, so this is the first recording I did from a forest sound. The next one I had here were some insect sounds. So let's have a listen to this. Oh, and by the way, this forest recording sound here, I did a bit of tweaking. And the reason for that is, so if we listen to the original raw, exactly the way it sounds here. Sounds good. Nothing wrong with that. But there was a bit of noise, and also like you can tell that they are like very common birds, especially in North America if you're from North America. And the way that I kind of try to get out of that and to change it a little bit is to bring down the format. So by bringing down the pitch, you're kind of changing the quality of the birds. So let's have a listen now. They're still similar, but they sound a little bit off or a little bit different. So is what helped to make the sound a little bit different. After that, there's a lot of noise in the mids and the lows here, so I just cut all of that out with this EQ here. Right, with that, you're kind of left with this nice kind of quiet wind and then some bird sounds. All right, next, let's go to this sound right here. Let's have a listen to it here. And you'll notice it's very, very quiet, and that was done on purpose. If we put it through the reverb here, let's have a listen. Right, so there are these cricket sounds, these insect sounds, and I really wanted these to feel quite distant, like they're not close. I don't want them to be close to the listener. I want them to kind of blend into the background of the ambience. That's why I did it this way. That's why they're kind of quiet, and also they're going through the reverb. And I really want the reverb sound to be more than the original sound. So that's why I did it this way. And a few tweaks that I did here. Let's have a listen. So the first thing is I added a big EQ cut because I only wanted the sound of the insect. So if we have a listen to this off, then on, right, you can hear it super loud. And I'm just going to bring down the volume and let's have a listen to it again. Right, I'm basically just cutting everything that I don't need in terms of information. All the insects are like usually about like 5K here, so don't need too much there. Track spacer here, I'm using that to cut out the insects that I have here so that these two tracks don't mask each other. They don't play at the same time. So that's what track spacer is doing there. And then again, I did the same kind of trick here where I used the formant here to increase the sound of the crickets. So now you're going to see they're going to get pitched up quite a bit. So let's have a listen to the new sound now. All right, I found that because these were recorded at night, they really sounded like they were like evening crickets, and it's hard to like get rid of that unless I change the pitch somehow, and that's why I changed the pitch there. So now if we have a listen to this all together here. Right, so everything's kind of blended in there. All right, and like I said, let's go to this next layer here. I had more insects, so let's have a listen to these here. Right, this just gives you that like warm day kind of feel when these. I'm assuming they're crickets. I'm not too sure what the insect is, but like when they're buzzing like that, you have those on warm days. So this is like perfect for to blend in with this jungle ambience because I was thinking more something like a rainforest sound or something like that. So somewhere where it's like pretty warm. So this helps to kind of convey that. So let's have a let's have a look at what I did in terms of processing for this one. So the first thing was to cut out everything. So if I listen to the original recording here, it's going to be probably pretty loud. Yeah, so it's taken near a little creek. So you get some of that water sound, which I didn't want. I didn't need any of that. So I cut all of that out. And as you can see here, the sounds are just above like 5K. Now you get rid of all of that stuff. Now the issue though is that you still hear that water trickling down, and the way that I got rid of that is with RX declick. So now if we play it, should get rid of everything. Right, so you suddenly lose that water sound. So even though it's baked in there, or I was able to get like a clean recording here. Next, I just added some uber loud here just to push it a little bit. Make it a little bit more distorted, but also a bit louder, and that's it. And these are not going, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think they're going into the, they're not going into the reverb here, because these I do want to be at the forefront. I do want those to be heard and felt like they're close by to the listener. All right, so now all together, this is what we got. All right, let's go to our next layer here. All right, so this is another recording that I took from a different park, a different forest. So I just blended that in there, just put it into kind of layer with the other ones that had different bird sounds, so they sounded different. Just cut out a lot of the mids and lows, and that's it for that one. So nothing too complex there. It's just blending two different sounds from two different forests together, two different birds. So you get a lot more of a thick and denser feel. All right, after that, we had these sounds here. Let's have a listen to this. So these are some more insect sounds. I just wanted to have, I guess, make it even thicker, even more. So let's take off everything and let's have a listen to the original here. So this is actually a recording I took near a pond in the evening. So you get all these frogs croaking, and you also get the insects. I just wanted only the insects. So the way that I did that here is I used an EQ to cut out everything below whatever this is here, 5K. I also have a dynamic EQ to kind of boost up whatever I'm missing from what I cut out here just a little bit, just to make the insects come out and pop out a little bit more. And then again, I did the same technique here where I changed the format here so that everything kind of sits together and they all have a place to sit, especially these insects here. They're on the same frequency spectrum. They each have a place to sit, and they kind of just thicken up the entire sound, the entire bed here. So if we play all these together now with the reverb, this is what we get. All right, and after that, it was just a matter of adding a lot of like creature sounds, bird sounds, and really filling out the ambience so that it feels like you're in this wild like jungle area. All right, so let's have a listen to some of these creature sounds that I created, and I'll go through and explain how I created them. All right, so that is one creature sound here, and this is it right here inside Faceplant. So if we play to the original recording, it sounds like this. And obviously it's going through the reverb as well. And the way that I created that, if as you can probably hear, is a recorder, and I was just flutter tonguing through the recorder, and then I just pitched it up. and you can get these nice bird sounds or creature sounds that way. And that's what I did here. Just space them out. And of course, I also changed the panning. I want the panning to be different. And also, if you look at the panning, I also changed the panning of the send. So I'm sending it into the reverb, but on the left side, right? And I did that for each of these. You'll see like they're panned different ways. But every time I pan the sound source one way, I also pan it the send in the same way. So I want to make sure that they're all kind of being affected in the same way. They all feel and sound like they're coming from the same direction in the sound field. So that's how I did that there. All right, so next, let's go to this creature here. And so let's have a listen to this one. This is the patch over here. And actually, I'm going to take off Soothe 2 here because this is actually doing a lot for the patch. Let's have a listen. So as you can hear, that is just my voice. I was just playing it really slowly. What I actually did is I pitched down some bird sounds and other creature sounds. I pitched them all the way down till they were in my vocal range, and then I started to imitate them using my voice. If you want to see like a full video tutorial about how I've done that with bird sounds, I'll link it up above in the card, so if you want to check that out. But basically, that's it. Yeah, I just pitch them down till they're in my vocal range, then I just emulate them, recreate them with my voice, with my mouth, and then once I bring it back into faceplant, I can just pitch it up, and then I get something that's kind of close to the creature sound. Sometimes I have to do a bit more manipulation, but that's basically it. So that's how I created this sound here. Now with that, there was a lot of other noise and sounds that I didn't want in there. So what I did here is with Soothe 2, it'll cut out kind of resonances. This is what Soothe 2 does. It cuts out resonances. But what I did here is I put it into delta mode. So all I hear are those resonances that I cut out. And that's how I got this sound. Right? It's just a bit more pure. You just get a bit more of that tonality instead of all the noise and whatever other sound, part of the sound that I didn't want in there. And that's how I created that sound. All right, let's go to our next sound here. This one I actually didn't end up using. Let's go to this one. So this is just the design creature sound. I think it was supposed to be a frog sound that I was trying to create, and that I was, I was trying to make a frog sound, except then I just ended up leaving it pitched down. Right, you can kind of hear it with my voice. I'm just kind of imitating a frog sound, and then I kind of just left it as is, and that's it. So this is not like an actual real creature. That's why it's part of this fantasy ambient sound fantasy creature, if you will. But yeah, that's how I created this one here. All right, let's go to this next one here. All right, so this one was fun. This one is similar to this frog sound as well. It's actually the same patch, except I pitched it up. Right, so this way they felt different enough that they sounded like two different creatures. So if we play these two here, you get this. Right, they sound like completely different enough that I felt like they could have their own track to spit them out. Anyways, so that's these two creatures. They're the exact same. Actually, I have even a third one here that's probably pitched up even higher. Yeah, it's just pitched up even higher, but it's the exact same thing. And I just put it here. But it's cool. It sounds like some strange creature that I don't know what creature it would be, but yeah, it sounded good to me, so I put it on there. All right, let's go to our next creature sound here. Let's have a listen. I think this one was kind of like, it reminded me kind of like maybe like some sounds of monkeys or something like that screaming in the distance. So they're pretty quiet. I didn't want them to be too loud, but this is it here. I think I was kind of trying to imitate a loon, as you can see here as I titled it, but let's have a listen to what it is. Or you can hear my voice there as I made the sound right there. But yeah, pitched up, it sounded like that. Added reverb, distortion, dual delay just to add some tail to the sound. And that's it. This is also going into the reverb up there. And yeah, so once I played it, it sounded like this. All right, let's go to our next creature sound down here. As you can see here, this one was from an owl that I had pitched down. I was trying to imitate. So if we play here. Right, those are the sounds, and the way that I created that sound and recorded it is I actually had contact microphones that I put on my throat, on my vocal cords, and then I recorded these sounds. So I had a pretty clean sound, not a lot of noise or yeah, outside ambience noise. So it was a pretty clean recording, and I was able to yeah, imitate this owl sound, and then I was able to just pitch it up, and that's the sound I got right there. I think I did the same thing here for this one, and I did a bit of RX declick because I think there was some clickiness in there, but that's about it. Yeah, for some reason I had a little clicky sound right at the end of the sample here, and it was really hard to clean out without cutting out some of the sound and ruining the recording. So that's why I added declick in there, and it was enough to just clean it up and get rid of those clicks. So that's what these two tracks here are. All right, next let's go to this creature down here. And this I can already tell this was just done with a recorder, just playing the recorder in there. And then I just, again, I did the same technique here where I had Sooth 2. Actually, this one I didn't do Delta. I just added Sooth 2 just to bring down some of the resonances. But that's what this creature sound is here. It's just a recorder, nothing crazy here. All right, let's go to this creature sound here. This one's fun. Let's have a listen to how I created that. So you can hear how I'm doing it with my voice and my throat. I was kind of like using the back of my throat to create this sound, and then I just sped it up, and then that's how I was able to create this sound down here. And you can see here just a bit of reverb and delay. Really, I didn't need the reverb because I'm already sending it into the reverb above. But anyways, it helps to place it in the field maybe. That's how I got that sound. So that's another creature sound I created here. And then the last one, let's have a listen to this one. And this one, let's have a listen to what this is. So if I'm not mistaken, what this was is I actually took a empty tube, like a cardboard tube of toilet paper, and I put an elastic around it, and then I started like pinching the elastic and pulling the elastic and smacking it so that it would smack back down on the tube, and then I kind of recorded those really slowly. That's why you can see like they're really spaced out, and then some of them are a bit faster. I might have pitched this one up here, but yeah. So and then I put it together, and then as I pitched it up, I had these clicky sounds, and then if I play really high on my keyboard, like it just plays faster, but it sounds like this clicky creature or something like that. Anyways, that's how I created this sound, and it sounds like some sort of clicky creature, right? And then altogether, this is what I had. Right, everything's pretty subtle. Everything's kind of panned in a different direction so that not everything's coming from the same place. Yeah, and that's it. Once I had all these tracks together, they kind of blended all together to make this nice juggle ambient sound. All right, so that's it for this video tutorial. I hope you liked it, found it useful and valuable. If you made it all the way to the end, I think there's another video you're gonna like. It's one where I basically break down a creepy forest ambient sound effect that I created. So everything that I created from scratch. Of course, I recorded some things, but a lot of stuff was designed kind of like this one. So if you're interested in seeing that, I'll have it on the screen here. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I think that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.